Hello you lovely people, welcome to my channel or welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm just doing some kind of bits and pieces to try and get my it's not October, it's just October journal finished, and I was printing on this fabric and I thought maybe I should put the camera on, because if printing on fabric isn't something you've done before, it can be a bit daunting. Now what I'm wanting is, I showed you this bit of fabric on Wednesday when I was making my covers and said I need this when it comes to the binding, and I do need this when it comes to the binding, and I'm thinking ahead to what I need to get done so I'm ready for the binding. And I just thought I'm going to print this first. Now this is a stamp that I'm afraid I don't know who this stamp is by. I'm sorry about that. I can't tell you that because I don't know. Yeah, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to use it like a block stamp, because I'm going to be tearing up this fabric. What I'm doing is I'm using it to just fill, and I'm not bothered about if it doesn't always get a really clean print either. So I don't know where this stamp is from. The ink, however, is Archival from Ranger, and it is in Barn Door. And as you see, I did that stamp that way, so I'm doing this one this way so it fits in that kind of gap. And that's the reason why I'm using this stamp, because I reckoned it was 3 wide and 3 high, so I could get a nice kind of block print on it. The other thing is, when I've got a big stamp like this, see that one's still not very brilliant. You might have discovered this yourself, but big stamps can be a bit of a pain to print. It's getting the right kind of pressure over all of them, and in my experience a stamping platform doesn't necessarily help in that. However, a nice big bit of acrylic will, because I think what it is when you use these thick blocks, and I have these thick blocks and I love these thick blocks, but when you use them for a big stamp, you can't necessarily get the even pressure all over. But with these thinner acrylic ones, you can. So if you're using a big stamp, I suggest you do that. The second thing I suggest you do is, if you're stamping on material and using archival ink as I am, you don't stamp on anything important, because the archival ink will go through some materials onto what's got underneath. And if that's your, well, maybe it would matter if my media mat's starting to get dirty. I've been trying to keep it clean because that's just the kind of person I am. Maybe it would matter if it was on a media mat, but there's other things that it might matter, or you might not want it on. If you were using a self-healing craft mat, for example, you might not want to stamp on that because you've stamped it. The other thing, as you can see, is happening here, but I'm okay with that. But if you're not okay with that, there's a wee lesson here for you, is that as you go along, the stamp, even though this stamp was one I've used lots of times before, the stamp improves and you get clearer stamps, mainly because there's still some ink on it when you re-ink, and so there's more ink then to transfer. So if you want really crisp images right from the start, then, for example, I would say, well, certainly 3 before it was clear, maybe 5 or 6 before it was really clear. So, and that will depend on the stamp, it will depend on your ink. So you just have to experiment with each of your stamps. But if you're wanting it like that, one in there to start with, then just don't give up on your stamp. Just re-ink it and reprint it till it's got the clarity you want. But for this, I don't need that. It's just about putting a bit of interest. And I just wanted something that wasn't leaves, to tell you the truth. And this cow parsley, as it's kind of dies and you get left with the skeletons, is all over the place this time of year, and I just love it. So I thought, I'm going to use that. There we go. So I've done that. I'm now going to switch you off again, but I might switch you back on again when I'm doing something else. But I'm not going to have you on permanently, because I'll be doing stuff that it's really boring. More boring than that. If you were paying attention on Wednesday, you've just seen the little banner on the bit where I said I'm not going to show you how to do this, because and I hope that somebody else might show you how to do it. Well, I decided that wasn't very nice of me, and as I was going to do a video on Friday and I wasn't sure what it might be, I thought, let's just show you how to do this in case nobody else is doing it. So this is an old book that I've taken apart, and this is the covers of it. And what I'm currently doing is mixing some water with some strong PVA, just so that it's a better consistency. And then, there we go, that's fine. I'm just going to paint it on this book cover. You don't want it normal PVA thickness, just because it won't spread, especially if you're putting it over a book cover. You want it to get down into the fabric. It doesn't matter if it goes on the back in this instance, because I'm going to be doing the back. Then I always think it's better putting your cover on the book. Let's just move this out of the way so it doesn't stick to that. And I'm wanting the top of the fox's head to be at the top of the book, so, and it's 3 foxes wide, so there's the top of the book. That's not quite over far enough. There we go. Let's just make sure it's straight down there. There we go. And then just press it down. You can use your bone folder if you want, but just remember it's fabric, and if it's fabric with any stretch on, you don't want to be stretching your fabric. Then we're going to turn it over, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go the whole way around the book in at the edge, because we want the edge to be stuck. Doesn't matter if you go over, bit of fluff of my jumper there. Doesn't matter if you go over onto the inside, but just make sure you get all the way around the edge, this edge of the book here, this edge, because you want to make sure it gets stuck to that. And then we're just going to gradually curve it up. So you see, it's stuck to the edge, it's not sticking to the back. Before I do that the whole way around though, the first thing I want to do is cut off my corners. So you're just cutting the width of the book away from the corner. The width, so whether it's a book, and it's always better to cut a bit more than a bit less. So it's just across, being the width of your substrate away from the corner. If you cut right up to the corner. I'm not going to show you that because I don't want this to end up like that. Right, and I'm just bringing that up, butting that up all the way around so I know that it's nicely stuck on those edges. Now, I know there's some people that don't do this, but because before I did junk journaling, I did proper bookbinding, there's kind of things I do that a lot of people don't do, and you can get away with not doing it. I'm just showing you the way I do it. And then what I want to do is I just want to paint a border wider than the fabric, because that way you know you definitely, there's a hair. Kind of, at first it's a jumper, now it's a hair. And there, all the way around, and then just, I always find it better to do your two short ends first. Again, that's a bookbinding thing. If I was doing proper bookbinding, I would have these fold overs the same depth, but so I'm not being totally. And then to get your long edges, see if you do that, then you'll get it right round, nice and square. We've got a wee thread hanging off, but that's okay. And just pull this one up around here as well. Right, I'm putting those aside to dry. I need to make my spine, and for my spine I'm going to use Amazon package. I need to bring that back to measure. Oh, that's exactly the right height. Look at that. Well, it's maybe just a smidgen too big, so I just need to cut a smidgen off it. That's an official term. Yep. Now I have one signature ready, but this should give me a good indication about how thick I want my spine to be. So 1, 2, 3, kind of there. It's a very different spine I'm doing, so it's a forgiving spine. That's not the official term. All right, I'm going to make a 1.5. So I'm going to make 1.5. Right, so this is the size I got it. I need it. I should turn that upside down because I'm going to need that in a wee bit. And I want to cut 1.5 inch strips, and I think I probably want 4 of them. And now I'm just going to stick these strips together. So this is another 2 1-inch bits of cardboard, the envelope, 1.5 inch wide bits of the envelope, and I'm just going to stick them two together as well. Now I need another bit of this. This time I could use that bit really, couldn't I? Let's use that bit. Is that? No, that needs to be wider, doesn't it? This time I need it 3 times 1, 2, 3, so it's at that bit. I think I might take it from the other side again though, just because of the, yeah, let's take it from the other side. So I need 1, this time I need 3 times the width, so 1, 2, 3. So I wrap it around 3 times, so it's wrapped around 3 times. I know where 3 times the width is. I take that off. All this will become clear next week with the binding, but I'm just, as I say, I'm just doing the prep work for that, which is also kind of covers, so that's why I thought I would include it in this week's Friday video. Right, and so I want to then stick this in the the centre of this. Ooh, only I've not, that's somehow that one's shorter than that one. How did that happen? That wasn't very smart of me, was it? It'll be okay. Be okay. We'll just make sure that that's on the inside. So I want to do that so that that's a third, that's a third. Right, so let's just do, where's my fabric pen? Let's just do a little corner. If you don't have these fabric pens, this is a well worth thing for you to buy, because what happens is bright pink, so you can really see it, and then it starts to fade in the air. Can you see already it's starting to fade? And so that gives you marks to follow that then disappear without you having to worry about marks showing. It can take longer, so it depends on the fabric. Sometimes it fades very quickly, sometimes it's around for a day or two, but it does always eventually fade without it being kind of weeks or months later. Let me just do this bit on here. So I'm just sticking this down on here, and I'm putting it between that one and that one, and I know then it's the third of the way around. Let's just burnish that down with my hand, and then I want to fold that over like that and just get that stuck on there as well. Just on the card, that's fine. We'll do with the other bit when we're doing the binding. There we go. Excellent. Those still need to dry as well. I haven't decided what I'm doing on the inside of these yet either, have I? I need to think. I could just actually put some more of the foxy fabric on, couldn't I? I could put more of foxy on the inside. That one's a bit short. I need to cut off some more, a big bit more. Maybe put something different rather than foxy. I'm thinking now I might just put another bit of fabric in. I'm not going to have enough of this left for both covers, which that would have been quite, see, I could get that on one cover, but then I wouldn't have enough on the back cover. So I don't think I'm going to use that, but I think I'm going to find another bit of fabric for this. Right, okay. I've found a bit of this. This is one of my favourites actually, but I've got enough left I think to do this. I just think the colours are really good for this particular project. This is one of Tim Holt's Electric Elements, and this is Abandoned. Free Spirit are the people that do it, and this is the dyed strip one, and I just love this one. But I just think because we've got the rusties, but we've got a bit of, you know how I keep on wanting to get the purple in. I'm just hoping that these bits of card will both fit on a bit. Quite like that bit, but I also want to keep the, oh actually see I've got that bit up there. I like to keep a bit with the stuff on it as long as possible, the names on it as long as possible. Yeah, that's okay. Let's use that. So if we tear along there, then I'll have a little bit left to play with, so it's kind of cutting at that orangey line there. Well, cutting. What's cutting? Tearing. And we need another mat. Let's get the glue out there first. Oh, without the bit of whatever that is. And this is very similar to how you made the outside front cover. There we go. Let's just put that back. Should be enough there. There might not, but there should be. So just in case we need some more. A bit of water. Another bit of paper. That can go away. They can go away. I'll just put them there just now. Trying to avoid putting my hands too much over you, but I know when I go up to put things and get things out, I sometimes get in the way of the camera. Just mix this up. There we go. Needs a bit more water, it's still a bit too thick. There we go, that's better. Could of course got my book binding glue out, but I didn't. Okay, let's just slap this on here. Now, it's always worth thinking about how your book's going together. This is going to be the inside, and one side is going to be stuck to the outside cover. So I'm going to leave the cover that's going to be stuck to the outside and the inside, even though I doubt very much this fabric will show that through. It's a case of saying to myself, it's good practice, because if you always think that way, rather than saying, oh, it doesn't matter this time, then there's less chance of you doing it wrong when it does matter. So let's just get this all glued up, making sure it's got plenty of glue without it having too much glue. Go, making sure you've gone right to the edges. Let's just hold that over, and we're just going to place this on top of this, and there isn't a pattern to worry about or anything. So let's just put that down, then turn it over and just make sure I haven't got any wrinkles. And I can feel the glue coming through, so I know there's a good adhesion. There we go. Put that one over there to dry. Let's open this back out and do the other one. So again, that's going down the way, so I'm going to glue on this side. The temptation is to glue on the other side because you're thinking, oh, I'm hiding the ugly side, but actually the other side, ugly side, is going to be hidden better by the big thick board, which was once the cover of a book. Just paint this up. I'm not bothered about the fact the back of this is getting gluey, because it will be glued eventually, and it will be glued shortly when I glue over the corners. Let's do that. That's that. Let's take this up. Put that away. Turn this over. Get that thread out the way, and try and put this on here as centre as possible, being aware of the fact there's a fold in the fabric, so that's going to have to be smoothed out. There we go. Oops, stuck. Just clear up that glue that's stuck there before it sets. It's a great thing about PVA, you can just lift it straight away. If you leave it, it might be harder to shift, but if you just, you can shift it straight away. we go. Right, okay. Those covers are going to be really cool. Right, let's deal with this one first, seeing this one's already here. Just going to fold that over, put this back on here, and I need to decide whether I want to do mited corners. This is the other way you can do your corners. I'll show you this way, so you've got all three ways. So what we do is we cover along your board. If you cover that way, can you see how that's putting it in the groove between your, you can see the glue there. If you do it that way, then it doesn't. So you've done right to the corners, and what you want to also do is just do up a little bit like that. Then you want to take your corner and just fold it in like so. Take your corner and fold it in like so. Then I'm going to do the other end. As long as you work quickly, you'll get this done before the glue's set. So we'll go up this way, and along this one, along this one. Take the corner up, take the corner up, and you're trying to make it a corner. That's got a, so it's, but you're trying to make it a, in fact I've not done that. You want to make the square, you want to make that horizontal parallel with that. Right, and then let's do up the sides. Got too much glue on that, so I'll take that and use that up the other side. And then it's just a case of putting an extra bit of glue on the corners that are folded over. I just realised I've gone off the page, trying to not get glue everywhere, and then fold your top, short sides, and then your long sides. And as long as you've made sure you're all smooth on the other side before you did all that, then it will all be fine. Now, when you're doing this and this is going to be hidden, you can see how it doesn't quite meet, but that doesn't matter if it's going to be hidden. It's going to go down that side. I don't use that method when you'll see the corners, because you will get these gaps depending how thick your card is, depending how thick your material is. You might also, if you've got thick material, this is quite thick material, find that you need to put a little bit more glue there, but that's actually okay. I'm happy with that. I'll do that again for you. There we go. Now there's one more stage to making the cover, and then it's on to the binding stage, which I will leave until next Wednesday. But let me just finish assembling the cover for you, seeing I've started doing this. So we have two outers, we have two inners, and we have the spines aren't dry. I will come back and finish assembling this cover for you later once the spines have dried, and these inside covers will be better dried as well by then, but the spines are very wet, so I'll need to wait till they've dried. I was going to put some corners on this, and I think I still am. I've dug them out. I want to do, I know lots of people do the same on both sides, but I quite like doing fancy corners on my front plate and plain corners on my back plate. Oh, I thought I'd got enough out. Oh, there we go. That's that one. But I'm going to have to do them. I was just thinking that actually I won't be able to put them on after I've put the covers they're going to get in the way, so I'm going to put them on first. Now these corners, the advantage with this as well is I get to show you two different corners, because these corners are slightly different in style, and that means they're slightly different in how you have to put them on. We'll start with the front ones, I think. So these front ones are the same front and back. They're complete corners. They fit on, and they fit on pretty snugly. The one thing you've got to watch is it's very easy to push your fabric through them. So what I tend to do if that happens is I tend to go, hope you can see this, and then try and catch that fabric underneath. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. Now you can see that because this is an actual book, that these fit really well, lovely and snugly on the corner there. However, I'm still going to stick them in, and the best thing as far as I'm concerned is to get some Fabri-Tac 3-in-1, whatever you want to call it, and just put a bead inside. Just wipe off the stuff on the outside, and then remembering I want to keep that one in there. Just now these ones with a bit of glue, that's all they need. Can you see how they're all flush anyway? So I'm going to put the other, well, I'll do that at one more time with you. So if I just push that straight in, can you see how you can? So if what you want to do is you want to push it in round, rather than, the temptation is just to stick it in, but what you really need to do is you need to do it round like that. Now I just want to say one thing, and that is, see how it's got a joint down there? What will happen if you put a lot of glue in is it will lose out that joint, so just be aware of that, because you'll want to clean that off. There it goes, see how that happened there? And you'll want to clean that off just for a nice finish. But it does just make a, it does just make a right difference having the four corners. I think so, anyway. Not always something I want to do, but in this instance it was. The back cover, I'm using plain black corners. Get rid of one of my hairs. And these are slightly different. Can you see how there is a front and a back to these? That's the back, where you've got an opening and they're not as wide. That's the front, where it's full. And these, they might still fit on this bit, but these usually need a bit of a, yeah, see, they're loose. They're loose. So we do, so we'll put the bit of glue in as well, but then we're going to have to press them in. So first I'm going to get my tool. Soft nose pliers. These are what you really want, because if you use hard pliers you'll actually put them out of shape. So exactly the same in the as the front. I'll put a wee bit of glue in. This time you want to put it in the two grooves. It's no good putting it in the corner, it'll just all seep out the corner. So just putting a bit in the two grooves. Make sure you put it on. But it will stay on if you've got some pliers and squeeze it on. It will still stay on, but I just like to put the glue for the extra security. And then with these soft pliers, you just then squeeze and squeeze, squeeze, and then that's on. And you can see how it just keeps it smart, because the front one's been done, but it says that, oh, this is the back cover, because The big thing is to make sure you've got it square down so you're not catching anything this way. So that's two different options, and I picked the black because of the wee black nose and the wee, I could have gone with the bronze, but actually I wanted to go with the black. I'm going to put the other three of these on. So there's one more thing I want to do to my front before we put it all together, and the first thing I need to do is pick a button. Let's have a look. What shall we use? And that is, I want to put this button on. So what we need to do is to get out my hole, which I'd already had out for something else, so my things here, and I need to I think I want to put it, do I want to put it, I think I want to put it about there. Let's not hide two foxes. I don't mind if we hide that one fox's body. He's one of a pair, so let's not hide him. And let's just push that all the way through. It's all the way through because it's picking up the mat underneath. And let's push that all the way through. It's picking up the mat underneath, so I know it's all the way through. Now I'm going to take the button out the way and just push this all the way through in a rotating motion so that I've got the full thickness of it. Like that. Don't need that any longer, but I do need my needle. And the first thing to do is to make sure the needle's going to go through. Right, and I'm going to use a bit of waxed linen to do this, because I want this to be nice and tough and secure, and you'll see for why later. So starting from the back, I'm going to bring it up through, take it through my button, and take it back down, holding both ends so I don't pull it all the way through. Right, okay. Now I'm going to go back up through that first hole, but I'm not going back up through the button. Just going back up through the first hole. Then what I'm wanting to do is, I want to, I don't know if you've ever done this before, but I'll show you. I want to create a shaft on this button. I don't want it sticking out. Let's just untwist it. It's that way around. I don't want it sticking out lots, but I do need to be able to get behind it. So I want to create a wee shaft. So all you do is you wind round and round, round and round. Then take one of them back and thread that through. Pull it tight, and then round the other way and thread it through. I'm trying to have the knot in a different place on the shank and pull it tight. So, and on this side, take this end and we're just going to push it underneath that one to make sure it doesn't come out. Just take that through there. This is going to be glued down, so this is less likely to, I'll just show it out a little bit, less likely to come undone because we're going to glue on, the back's going to glue on there. Right, I'm going to use a bit of this elastic. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a loop that will then go over the button. So that'll be stuck in there, and then that'll go over that button to close it. So what I need is, I need something that's going to be enough for just now without it being too loose, but also will be okay as it might grow. I want to, do I want to use a button? No. Let's use, oh, where's that wee owl? Let's use this little owl. I'm going to put this owl on here, so this owl then becomes part of the closure, so you've got that to pull and put round and try that way. Just got to hope I don't, there we go, should have done that right at the start. Right, the reason why I wanted to use this wee charm is the fact that it's got a back and a front. Well, they're both the same, but it's not got a plain bit. And then I just want to put these in here, and I want to take them all the way over to the board. I need to make sure they're at the right spot, and the best way to do that is if I do that, rather than trying to guess. That's where I was wanting to go. So that's where it's wanting to go. So that's where it needs to go in here. So we want to take it slightly over onto the board like that, and just stick it down because I want some glue underneath it. Got my glue out, got my brush out. Let's put this together. So these are the two inner boards. This is my spine, this is the outside of my spine, this is the inside of my spine. And what I want to do is I want to lay the spine in between those two. You can see I've chamfered off these edges a wee bit just because I need to make sure this is nice and straight. Let's just bring it down to the edge of the paper, and then I know it's straight. There we go. So I said I've chamfered off the edge just because I didn't want them overhanging. And the spine has gone down there, and you can see how I've just got a bit of width in between there. That's because, so that when it moves up, it's still able to shift. There you go. You can see that's maybe slightly bigger than I need it. Just going to move that in a tad. I just kind of want about 3/8 of an inch there. And then I'm just going to put glue along here. Oops, I've just moved that, so I need to move that back again. Make sure you got this, both the board and the fabric, but try not to go over the edge. Right, let's just get that back in straight again. This has gone slightly over. So trouble, everything starts moving when you start, and then we're just going to press that down. Not bothered about this inner flap. I just want this bottom bit down. Stuck down at the moment. There we go. Let's have a look. Yep, that looks all right. I'm going to do the same on this side. Just make sure this is lined up again. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to put on my inside boards, and I decided that was going to be my front one, and this was going to be my back one. And I did hum and haw about whether or not to put pockets on these, but I decided not to, for the simple reason is each of the signatures, if you remember, I've got a pocket in them, so I decided that these didn't need, and I don't really want to. I might end up putting a belly band, because I have, if you remember, oh, I don't think I showed you that I ended up with a little bit of this left when I cut the pieces for these actual backs, so I might do a belly band, but it'll be a fabric belly band if I do, but I've not decided on that. Right, so that now goes on there, so I need to glue the back of this, so I'm going to carefully move this out the way, and I want to get plenty glue on this, because this, again, this time I don't want to go over the edge again, so I want to make sure I've got plenty glue on the board and on the fabric. This is what's going to keep the two bits together and also secure the spine and the closure in place. So it is really important that I get this properly glued. If you just have an ordinary kids PVA glue, don't water it down if you're using PVA glue. Use it full strength, because it isn't as sticky as proper craft PVA, or that extra strong stuff, this extra strong stuff that I use. It's also, you can tell it's stickier because it's thicker. Right, and then once that's all down, once it starts to feel, just needs a wee bit more along there. There we go. A wee bit there. I can see that that's drying quite quickly today. Right, let's line this up. Let's take that out the way. Hope you can see this. Yes, you can. And I'm taking this right to the edge of the book. I want it butted right up against the edge, and then having a border that's roughly the same the whole way round. But I want it right butted up. I don't want it coming in on that side. It's hard to see. This side here is right against this edge here. It's not got this gap, this border. This needs something weighting down on it to make it stick, because it's actually... Right, there we go, it's going now. Bit of glue came out there. Right, is that it all? And that's butted up nicely against that, and then that'll just, it's not about covering that, it's just, I just want that loose. And then we'll sort the binding out on Wednesday. Let's turn this round, because it makes more sense to turn this round so you can see. And we're going to do the front cover. Now the front cover is going to be slightly complicated because of the button, and that means it's going to rock, so I've got to be aware of that when I'm doing it. Let's just fold this paper over, because I don't want any of that glue on my cover, on my fabric. So you can see it's flush with the edge, then you've got your spine here, and then you've got your fabric giving you your movement. If I get a book, just going to pick up a book. Here's a book here, and so that's your spine, your hardback, your spine. Then this bit here, which is usually done with book cloth, is this bit that you've left here. I'm going to put it over that way, I think, because that way I can put books on both sides. I'm going to weight this down and leave it a couple of days to let it fully adhere, and then it'll be ready for me doing the binding video. So that's why I had to get that done. So I hope that that was of interest to you. As I said, until then, thank you for watching this little wee bonus. You take care, keep crafting, and until we see you next time, bye for now.